Now?
No, not yet. Any second now.
Wait, wasn't that when we were supposed to start?
Oh, yeah, we missed it. Now we're too late. Oh, well. Hi, and welcome back to Negotiate with Yourself and Win with me, Jeremy Sherman.
And me, Jeremy Sherman.
My, it has been a while.
Certainly has. We've not been on speaking terms for months.
I meant since we recorded a conversation.
Yeah, just kidding. We've been talking to each other a lot, just not recording.
Yeah, someone tell Jeremy I'm not speaking to him anymore.
And while you're at it, tell Sherman I'm not speaking to him either.
Actually, we're on really good speaking terms because we're both pretty good at yanking each other's chains. Teasing.
Laughing at each other with each other.
And that's what we want to talk about today.
We want to talk about irony.
That's right. An ironic attitude toward life.
Because life is ironic whether you like it or not.
And we don't like it.
And ironically, we also do like it.
And we like people who like irony as much as we do.
Indeed, we think the heart of the culture wars,
and not just today's, but throughout history,
is between ironists and their rivals.
And the ironists are winning.
Or losing, we don't know.
But there is a trend toward irony. Ironists have been making headway, which has their rivals up in arms.
A major backlash against ironists all over the world.
There's a reason ironists are on the rise.
Two reasons at least, but start with one.
Consumer culture gets the entertainment it wants, and it wants tension. A story that has us on the edge of our seats.
A hero's in a heap of trouble, but wriggles out of it to rise like a phoenix.
Or a Jesus.
Or a summer blockbuster.
But even summer blockbusters are getting ironic.
Iron Man is ironic.
More and more consumer culture wants ironic attention.
Like how do chick flicks and buddy films show good chemistry between good people?
By using attractive actors.
Yes, being hotties is the key to true love. The big lesson from chick flicks is that true love happens between cute people with dorky friends for comic relief.
Sure, but also having good chemistry, which we demonstrate how?
With irony. Love at first sight comes from slights at first sight, a little yanking of the chains, courtship by means of ironic senses of humor.
Play fighting, ironic ambivalence as mating display. I can be serious and I can be funny. I'm shy and bold, respectful and lusty, passionate and chill, competitive and cooperative.
It's almost like peekaboo for adults. I'm on your side. No, I'm competing with you. No, I'm on your side. Back and forth.
Now, some people think that irony is another word for hypocrisy. Like you're above the fray. You don't care. You'll say any harsh thing, because if anyone's offended, you can always say, wow, what's wrong with you? Can't you take a joke?
Hypocrisy is like no tag backs. I can say whatever and you can't catch me. And yes, some people assume that hypocrisy and irony are the same.
Which is ironic, because hypocrisy is actually the opposite of irony. Ironists are deep in the fray, really trying to figure out when and how to show their opposite sides.
Still, it's understandable that people mistake irony for hypocrisy, because hypocrites and ironists both have double standards. They both express ambivalences.
Ironists and hypocrites talk out both sides of their mouths, meaning and not meaning what they say.
The difference is that ironists are winking. They know they're saying opposite things, and they want you to know too. They're trying to reveal, not conceal, their ambivalences.
Whereas hypocrites pretend they aren't. Their ambivalences are obvious, but if you point out that they're saying opposite things, they'll bite your head off. They'll make you wrong for not hearing them right, for even questioning their inconsistency. Hypocrites flip-flop, but pretend they don't. They'll turn the world any which way to pretend they're above it. They stay up on their high horse, and if they're failing and falling, they pretend they're flying high.
How?
By pretending the world is upside down. Like when you're down in a hole, stop digging. But hypocrites just keep digging and pretend that down is up.
You ever notice the difference between talking to someone who knows they're on the fence about something and someone who's clearly on the fence but denies it?
Been there. I can listen all day to someone who owns their ambivalences, but I can't stand listening to someone who I can tell is ambivalent but denies it. They drive me up the wall and down it. They blame me for all their inconsistency. You're not listening, they'll say. Why do you keep twisting my words? You're just trying to put me down.
And if you really press them, if you say, no, look at yourself, admit it, you're being hypocritical, they'll flip that too. They'll treat their slippery hypocrisy like it's some status symbol. Like, damn right I say opposite things. I don't have to be consistent.
Again, above the fray. Royalty like me can afford to be a hypocrite.
Yeah, some hypocrites treat their inconsistencies like bling. They're so important they don't have to be consistent.
Oh, and another thing. Some people mistake irony for sarcasm, too.
Sarcasm is saying the opposite of what you mean.
Irony isn't sarcasm. Irony is saying the opposite of what you mean and saying just what you mean.
Wait, where were we? Were we just talking about why irony is winning the culture war?
Yeah, I said there was one reason and we just gave it. Irony is winning the entertainment wars, like action comedies, all serious and funny at the same time. It's humanizing. Popular in flirting too. Irony is appealing because it's disarming. It puts people at ease when you reveal that you're human, that you too are dealing with life's ambiguities and ambivalences.
And I said there was at least another reason irony is on the rise. We said it was humanizing, but it's also biologizing.
Huh?
Displaying disarming ease with ambiguity is humanizing and biologizing. It makes us more like the organisms we are. We are organisms, you know, not just human.
I think what you're trying to say is that we're not just dealing with the human condition, which is full of ironies. You're saying we're also dealing with the living condition, the biological condition, which itself is ironic.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Well, it's my mouth too. But come on, are you saying that animals are ironic? Trees are ironic?
Not the way we are, but they are ambivalent. They're not robots. They haven't got the perfect formula that guarantees them life eternal. They're struggling for their own existence. One wrong move could end it. Natural selection is a trial and error process. Organisms are trials in that trial and error process. An organism is a trial that can make errors. Watch funny cat fail videos on YouTube and you'll get a sense of it. Slipping on banana peels. It's not just a human thing.
Okay, wait. I'm confused.
Here, what do we mean by an ironic situation? An ironic situation is one in which you get the opposite of what you were going for. Ironically, the good turns out bad or the bad turns out good. You thought you were taking a shortcut, and ironically, it turned out to be the long, slow route. You thought you were marrying the spouse of your dreams, and ironically, they turned out to be the spouse of your nightmares.
Or the reverse. You thought you made the worst decision in your life, and ironically, it turned out to be the best decision of your life. You missed what you thought was an opportunity, and ironically, missing it was a blessing in disguise.
Reversals. That's what ironic situations are all about. The good turning out bad and the bad turning out good. The right turning out wrong and the wrong turning out right.
And why reversals?
Because everyone makes mistakes.
And why does everyone make mistakes?
Because no one's perfect.
And why is nobody perfect?
Because we're dim, not that bright.
I think it goes deeper than that.
Oh, you do you, smarty pants?
Hey, I represent that. No, here's why I think it goes deeper than that. You ready for it?
Hit me, my brother in thought.
Winds change.
Oh, that's deep. I'm stroking my beard. Heavy, man. Make a pretty meme of it.
No, think about it. Winds are strictly physical, right?
Okay.
And they reverse. The winds can be going in one direction and then go in the opposite direction. No one changed the wind's mind. It's just wind and it reverses. And not just wind, tides, chemical reactions, all sorts of strictly physical phenomena can flip-flop. In physics and chemistry, things can reverse in ways that even physicists can't predict.
Oh, come on. A genius physicist who knew where every atom was should be able to calculate what it's doing next and next after that. I mean, isn't physics determined? It's just that we're not that bright. Not bright enough to know where everything is and what's going to go on next.
Folks used to think that. A guy named Laplace proposed that back in 1815. But there are fundamental problems with it, including eating one's own mouth.
How do you mean?
I mean that Laplace's genius would have to track changes in himself too. That's called recursion, like eating one's mouth. The watcher has to watch himself watching.
Weird. Confusing. So that's why physics isn't determined?
Not the only reason. There are lots of reasons why physics isn't determinate. But let's not get into why physics isn't predestiny here, why you couldn't have some perfect GPS that could tell you how to achieve success, not even God. We could talk about that some other time.
When we're on speaking terms again, oh, how I long for the day when we can kiss and make up.
Will someone tell Jeremy to stick with the script? Here's my point. Physics itself has these unpredictable flip-flops. Winds change.
Okay. But what's that got to
Here
do with...
we are, we living beings, trying to navigate reality, trying to track reality's unpredictable reversals for our own sake, struggling to survive. Add in other creatures struggling to survive, including us flip-flopping humans, and, well, the reversals only get harder to track. A total clusterflux.
Oh, so you're saying
I'm
that...
saying that, given the unpredictable reversals, there are going to be ironic situations.
So you're saying that...
I'm saying that life is inescapably slapstick. There are going to be these...
Will you let me get a word in edgewise? I think much better when I try saying things in my own words.
Sorry, I get excited. My bad.
Geez, you're a talker. No wonder I need a break from you sometimes.
Sorry.
As I was about to say before you rudely interrupted, you're saying winds change. So we living beings are like trying to keep our sailboat afloat, trying to keep our sails right, tracking changes in the wind, trying to time our changes to reality's reversals, and we won't be perfect at it. We can change our sails just right, except we get the timing wrong and capsize.
And drown.
So it's deadly serious.
And at the same time, slapstick.
Or it's like life is a winding road.
Oh, deep, heavy man. Make a pretty meme of it.
Hey, show some respect.
Do go on, my dear friend.
Life is like driving a winding, trafficy road.
Forking, too.
And worse, a road we create as we drive it.
No genius GPS.
And we've got to watch out. Try not to crash and die on either side of the road. Not too competitive, not too cooperative in the push and shove, give and take.
Steering our steering wheel this way and that, trying to match this winding, forking, evolving, changing, clusterflux, crowded road.
And sometimes we're off by a bit. We turn the wheel too soon or too late.
Or like stockbrokers trying to buy low and sell high and end up with these ironic situations like buying high and selling low. And it matters. We can blow it really badly.
We can die.
Death by slapstick.
Because sometimes life gives you banana peels.
Exactly. Treading forward on life's slippery surfaces, we can fall backwards.
And even die.
You cut it out about the dying. Still, we've got to tread forward. I mean, you can't just pull over and cower and let other cars run over you. You have to keep going. You have to steer the winding, forking, trafficy road as best you can.
Knowing you can't drive perfectly.
That's why irony is an appropriate adaptive attitude toward life. Dead serious commitments that you also recognize could go terribly wrong because it's not all in our control. Given our wiggly world, the proper response is to place good bets on what to do, knowing that even the best bets can fail.
That reminds me of something else we've talked about before.
Let me guess.
No.
Fallibilism.
Exactly, fallibilism. The recognition that you can't help but place bets on what to do. You try to make the best bets, but even the best laid plans of mice and men can turn out differently from what you expect.
Like you could bet on the 80% odds and end up with the 20% alternative. Did that mean you bet badly?
Nope. You can bet well and still things come out wrong.
No matter how confident you are in a bet, remain still more confident that it is a bet. That's fallibilism.
That's the human condition. Trying to guess right in a wiggly, flip-floppy cluster flux of a world.
Okay. So I think we've got a good sense of irony. It's owning your ambivalences about life's ambiguities. Ironists are serious and kidding. Open and closed, in and out, tough and soft, loving and hating, serene and courageous. They admit they're working with every pair of opposite moves it takes to live. They demonstrate their struggle to figure out when to use which move. They know it's serious.
As serious as trying to stay safe on a winding road, not too far to the left or the right.
And that it's also kind of slapstick, since life is guesswork.
Irony is comfort with the discomfort of self-contradiction. It's like laughing at your own split personalities. One side of you wants one thing, and the other side of you wants another thing.
Hey, speak for yourself.
Yeah, right, like you and I don't know anything about split personalities.
Irony is knowing that you're in the driver's seat, but the circumstances are still in control. It's like admitting you're not omniscient or omnipotent.
Nah, you're somniscient and somnipotent. You've got some knowledge and some power. Even though you have to commit to your choices, you recognize that they could turn out badly.
Given the slapstick banana peels.
It's not, I know for sure. And it's not, who knows, who cares. You do care, and yet you don't know for sure. You let other people know that you don't know for sure.
Other people realize that you don't know for sure.
That's right. It's not about telling other people to take you with a grain of salt. Rather, it's you demonstrating that you take yourself with a grain of salt. It's self-effacing humor.
It's disarming. It's humanizing. It's biologizing. Irony is the realistic, honest, even biologically adaptive response to an iffy world. You feel your ambivalence is in your bones, and you don't deny it to others. You don't pretend you're above it all. It's like celebrating with others that we live in a topsy-turvy world.
Well, that's where you're wrong. Actually, you do pretend you're above it all, like I'm doing here. But you pretend ironically. You admit to having delusions of grandeur, just like everyone else. But you parody how seriously you take yourself. You feel the fiction that you're above it all, and you know that it's fiction.
Yeah. Okay. But we said irony is one side of the culture wars. What's popular on the other side?
I'd say hypocrisy in two flavors: fake fundamentalists and fatalistic cynicism. They're both high horse moves, posing as though ambiguity and ambivalence are beneath you.
Fundamentalism is pretending you live by these hard and fast rules. It'd be like thinking you could drive life's winding roads by always steering sharp to one side. We call it virtue maxing. You take some popular virtue and pretend you can never have too much of it. For example, love is the answer. You can never have too much love. The object of the game of life is to eliminate all hate and turn love up to infinity. But really, such half-witted formulas make people morons.
How do you mean?
Like you should pile more and more on some supposed virtue.
Just love?
No, any of the always do this, never do that formulas. Always be open-minded. You can never be too open-minded. Always be loyal. You can never be too loyal. Whatever.
Well, what's wrong with that? I mean, those sound like good rules.
That's the problem. They sound like good rules, but they're so bad nobody ever lives by them. Nor could or should, any more than they can drive life's winding road always turning sharply in one direction.
What's wrong with maximizing love?
Lots of things. Love what? Love nuclear war? Love cancer? Love injustice?
No, love good things. Love justice.
That's my point. Love isn't the answer. It's the question. What to love? You can't love everything. Love takes effort. You have limited effort to give. And besides, like all preferences, love is relative. When you love some things, you elevate them relative to other things. The more you love justice, the more you don't love injustice. In fact, the more you hate it.
No, I get it. I just love to see you get all riled up.
Touché. My point is that fundamentalism is a recipe for hypocrisy. If you point out that a fundamentalist is weaving carefully on the road of life, just like the rest of us, they'll deny it. They'll say, no, my steering wheel is turned sharp to one side.
If you say, hey, now, the road is winding, you're trying to be as open or closed as the situation calls for. You're turning your wheels like everyone else. You can't be open, loyal, and loving to everything.
They'll pretend they can. If you say, if you love love, so doesn't that mean you don't love hate? They'll BS their way out of it. They'll say, no, I do not love hate. I love everything.
It's a pride thing. They want to feel like they're part of the solution, so they virtue signal. It's also a simplification thing. Life would be so much easier if you could just always maximize the virtues and minimize the vices.
But the virtues and vices all have opposite names. What we call love when we like it, we call addiction when we don't. What we call open-minded when we like it, we call wishy-washy when we don't.
Always be loyal to criminals. Always be open-minded to getting addicted to crack. Always love nuclear war. See, I'm virtuous.
And since no one is stupid enough to always be loyal, open-minded, and loving of everything, pretending that you can be stunts growth on the real questions, like what to love and where to be open-minded.
Okay, so in our culture wars, there are ironists on one side and there are fundamentalists on the other side.
Fake fundamentalists, because people just talk like they're fundamentalists. They aren't really.
And we're using fundamentalists broadly here, not just religious fundamentalists, but anyone who claims there's a simple always do X rule for driving driving the winding roads of life. Always steer all the way over to one side and keep your steering wheel there.
Whereas on the winding roads of life, you've got to steer in context. Sometimes a supposed universal virtue is a vice, and vice versa.
And fundamentalists claim that the way to steer is to always be honest, loyal, kind, steadfast, whatever. And when someone points out that they're not, they make up some BS denial. Here, let's act it out.
Okay, I'm a fundamentalist. I believe that love is always the answer. Never hate.
So you hate hatred?
No, I don't hate hatred. I never hate. I just stay positive.
So you're never negative?
Nope.
Because negativity is a no-no?
No, I'm not negative about negativity. I'm always positive. You're just stuck in black and white dualistic thinking.
Okay, so you don't love dualistic thinking?
I hate it. Wait. What I mean to say is it's not as good as the alternative.
Huh. What's your black and white alternative to black and white thinking?
Oh, shut up. I'm a good person. I'm loving and positive, and I hate the negativity of black and white thinking. Fundamentalists can't walk their talk, nor should they, because their talk is BS virtue signaling.
Can't drive their jive, though they pretend they can.
And end up stunting their own growth.
Great. So the culture wars are between ironists and fake fundamentalists.
Well, not just. You've also got your cynical hypocrites.
Which are who?
We already talked about those folks. They're the ones who make hypocrisy their bling. If you call them on their hypocrisy, they say, damn straight, I'm a hypocrite and proud of it. Everyone's a hypocrite. I'm a superior hypocrite. I'm above it all and proud of it. I'm shameless about my shameless hypocrisy.
It's like they're driving with their eyes closed.
Because nobody knows anything for sure, and morality is BS, and anyone who virtue signals is a hypocrite, so screw them.
So like if someone said, don't be negative to them,
they'd say, yeah, right. You're just being negative about negativity. You're a hypocrite, so I don't have to listen to you. So long as I can expose your hypocrisy, I don't have to think about my hypocrisy. I can say, I know you are, but what am I to prove my superiority? I'll moralize at suckers like you, but does morality matter to me? Not at all. Morality is for suckers.
On the winding road of life, they're driving with their eyes closed, and the more people they can run off the road, the more it proves they're above it all.
Okay, so we're saying that ironists are on one side of the culture wars, and on the other side, we've got fake fundamentalists and cynical hypocrites.
Yep, that's what we're saying. Strange bedfellows.
How do you mean?
Well, fake fundamentalists are purists, and cynical hypocrites are the opposite.
Sure, in some ways. But in other ways, they're like two peas in a pod. After all, they're both posing as above the fray, up on their high horse. And they're both hypocrites.
And come to think of it, they're often one pea.
How do you mean?
I can think of lots of people who alternate between playing prude and punk. They try to shame you for not abiding by their moral principles, and they'll laugh at you for caring about moral principles.
Oh, right, like the Trump cult. You got the evangelicals who want a minority-rule theocratic nanny state, and you got the total brats in there who just like posing as badasses. That's fake fundamentalism and cynical hypocrisy all rolled into one.
Yeah, that's what the ironists are up against.
And yet we're saying that the ironists are winning?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, but I do know this. The anti-ironists are losing.
How do you know?
Because you can't drive the winding roads of life by jerking the steering wheel in one direction and leaving it there, or by closing your eyes and calling it victory every time you run someone else off the road with your cynical hypocrisy.
You have to take the winding road of life seriously.
And nimbly recognizing that the human condition,
the living condition,
has this inescapably slapstick quality.
Where you can guess right and things come out wrong.
Terrifying.
And also amusing, like cat fail videos.
The bedrock sometimes pulls the rug out from under itself.
Yeah, ironic situations happen.
Well, that's a lot. I don't bet we have to talk to each other again for a while.
Yeah, we're all caught up.
No, we're not.
I'm just chanking your yang.
I know.
What are you up to tonight?
Not sure yet. I have to check with my other half.
Why? Your other half's a dork. I've been telling you for years he's a bad influence.
Nah, he's all right.
Hey, thank you for listening to another episode of Negotiate with Yourself and Win. We'll be back.
Can't say when, but we'll let you know.
If you subscribe.
Which you really should. Always subscribe to everything. That's what I say.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do when I'm being ironic.
More like when you're being moronic. You can't have too much subscription. Bring on more and more subscriptions.
Hey, that's offensive.
Are you offended?
No.
You said no. Don't be negative.
That's enough, Jeremy.